Chapter 44. One evening in early July, cruising down the Appleskin Hour, Maniac thought he heard footsteps other than his own. He stopped. Only the vast quietness responded. It happened a few more times. Must be his own footfalls echoing down the row house canyons. 2 days later, passing an alley, he thought something moved at the other end. And once, turning onto a broad street, he had the feeling, more sense and sight, that something had just hashed around a corner 2 blocks away. When these odd sensations continued for another morning or two, Maniac knew he was not alone. So he was not totally surprised when, a few mornings later, he turned a corner and ran smack into another early hour cruiser. No, it wasn't the what that surprised him, it was the who. Mars Bar Thompson. They quickly bounced off each other and went their separate ways. Neither paused, neither said a word. This was the first in a series of apparently random mergings, intersections, alleyways. One never knew when he would come upon the other. Sometimes they found themselves running the same route, only a block apart. On one occasion, they trotted down the same street at the same time in the same direction, but on opposite sides of the street. And then one day, as it happened, they each turned a particular corner at the same moment and headed off in the same direction, side by side. Still neither spoke. Not even their eyes met. They jogged silently for a block, then veered apart. The next time they deviated, they stayed that way for 2 blocks, then 3 blocks, and so on. No words, no looks, just the rhythmic slapping of their sneaker soles upon the sidewalk and the pulsing duet of their breathings. Stride for stride, shoulder to shoulder, breath for breath, till they were matching on all points, a harnessed pair, two runners become one. Morning after morning it happened this way, the two of them dovetailing at one intersection and without the slightest hitch in stride cruising off together. Though each face showed no awareness of the other, they were in fact minutely sensitive to each other. If Marshbar cranked up the pace just a notch, Maniac would pick it up within a stride. If Maniac inched ahead, Marshbar was there. If one veered to the left or right, the other followed like a shadow. One day, one was the leader, the next day, the other. One day, Marshbar would lead Maniac down the river, down the tracks, past the railroad gondolas, each with its mountain of coal, to the rolling mill at the steel plant where his father worked. Another day, Maniac would head for the townships, the north and west, the farmlands of the county, where dew sparkled on spider webs and nature was doing such fresh and wonderful things that you could almost hear the long, neat congregations of corn clapping, Amen, Amen. When the working people began leaving their houses, the daybreak boys diverged, Mars barred to the east end and Maniac to wherever. A week passed, a second week, morning after morning, stride for stride, breath for breath. Never a word, never a glance, each believing the other simply happened to be going where he was going. They were cruising Main Street one morning, passing the Ground movie theater, when Piper McNabb came screaming down the middle of the empty street. He was wild-eyed and crying and soaking wet. His feet were slathered in coal-black mud. He shrieked and babbled at them, but he made no sense. So they just followed as he raced frantically back up the street. As they ran, he belched. The belch like toot of a whistle grew louder and louder.